The morning started like any other Tuesday in Seoul. Office workers hurried along busy sidewalks, students rushed to catch buses, and the city hummed with its usual energy. Dr. Kim Hana sat in her laboratory on the 42nd floor of the Space Research Center, reviewing data from the Mars colony when her computer screen flickered. At first, she thought it was a technical problem. The readings showed massive energy signatures approaching Earth from deep space. She adjusted her equipment and ran the scan again. The numbers were the same. Something big was coming. "This can't be right," she whispered, checking the data a third time. Down the hall, Director Park Min-ho was drinking his morning coffee when every alarm in the building started ringing at once. Red lights flashed on control panels throughout the facility. His phone buzzed with calls from government, officials, military commanders and space agencies around the world. "Sir," his assistant ran into the office, "you need to see this immediately." Outside, people on the streets began pointing at the sky. Dark shapes appeared between the clouds, growing larger by the minute. At first, they looked like strange aircraft. But as they descended, their true size became clear. Each ship was the size of a city block, their silver hulls reflecting the morning sun. Captain Lee Ji-ho was conducting a routine training flight with his squadron when air traffic control's panicked voice crackled through his radio. "All aircraft, return to base immediately. We have unknown contacts entering our airspace." Lee looked up through his cockpit window and saw them. Dozens of massive ships positioned themselves above Seoul, Tokyo, New York, London, and every major city on Earth. They moved with purpose, taking strategic positions like pieces on a chessboard. "Control, this is Eagle Squadron," Lee radioed back. "Are we cleared to engage?" "Negative, Eagle Squadron. Stand by for orders." The ships hung in the air, silent and menacing. No weapons fired, no demands were made. They simply waited, casting enormous shadows over the cities below. In the research center, Dr. Kim Hana watched her instruments go crazy. The ships were scanning everything: power grids, communication networks, military installations. They were mapping Earth's defenses with technology far beyond human understanding. "Director Park," she called out, "they're not just visiting, they're studying us." Park Min-ho stood at the window, watching one of the alien vessels hover directly above their building. Its surface was smooth and seamless, with no visible engines or weapons, yet it defied gravity effortlessly. "Get me a direct line to the president," he ordered, "and contact every space agency on the planet. We need to coordinate our response." Within hours, the alien ships had positioned themselves over every continent. They maintained perfect formations, spacing themselves at precise intervals that suggested advanced military planning. The message was clear. Earth was surrounded. Then, at exactly noon Greenwich Mean Time, every television, radio, and communication device on the planet activated simultaneously. The alien message began broadcasting in every human language. The Gyor's voice was cold and mechanical, translated by technology that understood human speech better than humans understood it themselves. "Inhabitants of the third planet, you are now under the authority of the Vorthak Empire. Your species has been selected for integration into our civilization. You will surrender all military assets and submit to our governance. Resistance will result in the complete destruction of your world. You have 72 hours to comply." The message repeated 3 times, then the communications went silent. In government buildings around the world, emergency meetings began immediately. Presidents, prime ministers, and military leaders who had been enemies just hours before now found themselves united by a common threat. Dr. Kim Hana stared at her computer screen, analyzing the transmission. The signal came from everywhere at once, she told Director Park. "They have complete control over our communication systems. This level of technology, we're not dealing with explorers or traders." "What are we dealing with?" Park asked. "Conquerors," she replied quietly. Captain Lee Ji-ho received new orders within the hour. Every military unit on Earth was being mobilized. But their weapons seemed pathetic compared to the alien technology. Fighter jets against city-sized spaceships. Missiles against shields that could probably deflect asteroids. As the first day of the ultimatum passed, the alien ships remained motionless above the cities. They didn't attack, didn't communicate further, didn't even acknowledge the desperate radio signals Earth kept sending. They simply waited, like predators confident their prey had nowhere to run. In the United Nations building in New York, representatives from every nation gathered for an emergency session. The debates were brief. For the first time in human history, every country agreed on something. They would not surrender. The response was transmitted on every frequency, sent to every alien ship simultaneously. To the Vorthak Empire, humanity rejects your terms. Earth is not for sale, not for trade, and not for conquest. If you want our world, you'll have to take it. The alien response came swiftly. The ships began to move, taking new positions. Smaller. Vessels emerged from the larger ones, heading toward military installations and communication centers. Dr. Kim Hana watched the tactical display as the ships repositioned themselves. "They're not surprised by our refusal," she observed. "They expected this. They came prepared for war." Director Park nodded grimly. "Then they're about to learn something about humanity they didn't expect. The war for Earth was about to begin. 3 months had passed since the Vorthak ships first darkened Earth's skies. The world above ground looked like a nightmare. Half of Seoul lay in ruins, its gleaming towers reduced to twisted metal and broken concrete. The alien bombardment had been precise and devastating, targeting military bases, government buildings, and communication centers with surgical accuracy. But beneath the destroyed city, humanity had gone underground. Dr. Kim Hana wiped sweat from her forehead as she worked in the cramped laboratory buried 50 meters below the rubble. The air was thick and humid, recycled through makeshift ventilation systems. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows on the walls, but the work continued, day and night. "Hand me that crystal component," she said to her assistant, a young engineer named Kim Day who had volunteered to stay behind when the evacuation orders came. The crystal was part of a Vorthak fighter that Captain Lee Jiho's squadron had managed to shoot down 2 weeks earlier. It was the first alien technology they had captured intact, and Hana was determined to understand how it worked. "The energy patterns are completely different from anything we've built," she explained to Director Park Min-ho, who had been living in the underground facility since the siege began. "But look at this reading. The power source resonates at almost the same frequency as our fusion reactors." Park studied the data on her cracked computer screen. Above them, they could hear the distant rumble of alien patrol ships. The Vorthak maintained constant surveillance, hunting for any signs of human resistance. "Can we use it?" Park asked. "Maybe. Give me more time." Time was something they had plenty of underground, but resources were running low. The global supply chain had collapsed within the first month of the siege. Every major port, airport, and shipping route was either destroyed or under alien control. Captain Lee Jiho descended the ladder into the command center, his flight suit torn and dirty. His face was thinner than it had been 3 months ago, but his eyes still burned with determination. "Supply run was successful," he reported to Park. "We hit another Vorthak convoy near Busan, got medical supplies, and managed to capture 2 more of their communication devices." Lee's tactics had evolved rapidly during the siege. Traditional air combat was useless against the alien technology, so he had learned to fight like a guerrilla. Hit fast, disappear quickly, strike where the enemy least expected. "Their patrol patterns are getting predictable," he continued. "They send the same formations along the same routes every day. It's like they expect us to fight them the way other species did." Dr. Kim Sora looked up from her workstation in the corner of the room. She had been the center's communication specialist before the war, and now she was trying to crack the alien language and technology. "I've been analyzing the captured communication devices," she said. "The Vorthak use a complex encryption system, but I think I'm starting to understand the basic structure." Park moved to her station. "What have you learned?" "They're not just fighting us," Sora explained, pulling up intercepted signal fragments on her screen. "These messages reference other battles, other worlds. The Vorthak are fighting on multiple fronts. This was the first good news they had received in months." Park felt a spark of hope. "How many fronts?" he asked. "I can't be sure yet, but based on the communication patterns, at least a dozen different star systems. In facilities like this one, hidden beneath the ruins of major cities around the world, similar groups of survivors were learning to adapt." In the underground tunnels of London, engineers were building new weapons from salvaged alien technology. In the subway systems beneath New York, doctors were treating wounded fighters and developing new medical techniques. Humanity was changing, evolving under pressure like metal being forged in fire. "Sir," Kim Day called from across the laboratory, "I think Dr. Hana has made a breakthrough." Hana was staring at her equipment with wide eyes. "The crystal isn't just a power source," she said excitedly. "It's a computer, a battery, and an engine all in one piece. If we can figure out how to manufacture these, we could build our own ships," Park finished. "Better than that," Hana smiled for the first time in weeks. "We could build ships that combine their technology with our designs. They might have superior weapons, but we have something they don't." "What's that?" Lee asked. "Creativity, desperation, the willingness to try anything." Above ground, Vorthak patrol ships continued their endless surveillance. The aliens had conquered 47 different worlds using the same strategy. Overwhelming force followed by systematic destruction of any resistance. Every species they had encountered either surrendered immediately or was crushed within weeks. But Earth was different. The humans refused to break. Instead of large armies meeting in open battle, they fought from shadows. Instead of trying to match superior technology, they adapted and improvised. Dr. Kim Sora intercepted another alien transmission, this one from a Vorthak commander to his superiors. "Human resistance continues despite 3 months of siege operations. Enemy tactics are unpredictable and irregular. Request additional forces for pacification operations." Park read the translation and smiled grimly. "They're frustrated. They don't understand why we won't give up." "Because they've never fought humans before," Lee said simply. Outside, the siege continued, but deep underground, humanity was preparing for something the Vorthak had never seen. They were preparing to fight back. The breakthrough came at 3 in the morning on a cold February night. Dr. Kim Sora had been working for 18 hours straight, her eyes burning from staring at alien code scrolling across multiple screens. Empty coffee cups surrounded her workstation in the underground bunker, and her fingers moved automatically across the keyboard. Then suddenly, the encrypted Vorthak communications became clear text. "Director Park!" she shouted, her voice echoing through the quiet facility. "I've cracked it. I can read their messages." Park Min-ho rushed from his small sleeping quarters, followed by Dr. Kim Hana and Captain Lee Ji-ho. Other survivors in the bunker gathered around Sora's workstation as alien. Text transformed into readable Korean on her screens. "Look at this," Sora pointed to a tactical report. "Fleet Command to Sector 7. Earth pacification behind schedule. Human resistance exceeds projected parameters. Recommend reassignment of 3rd Battle Group from Kepler operation." Park read the message twice. "They're having trouble with us. More trouble than they expected." "There's more," Sora continued, pulling up additional communications. "Look at these supply requests. They're asking for reinforcements from 17 different star systems. They're fighting wars everywhere." Captain Lee studied the tactical data flowing across the screens. "They spread themselves too thin. The Vorthak Empire is big, but they're trying to control too much territory at once." Dr. Kim Hana leaned over Sora's shoulder, reading the technical specifications in the intercepted messages. "These maintenance reports show their ships need constant repair. Their technology is advanced, but it's also complex and fragile." More intelligence poured in as Sora worked through the night. The Vorthak had conquered 47 worlds, but they were still fighting active rebellions on 12 of them. Their military was stretched across hundreds of light years, trying to maintain control over species that kept finding new ways to resist. "Here's something interesting," Sora said, highlighting another message. "Automated distress beacon detected in Proxima Sector. Origin unknown resistance movement. Signal strength suggests organized opposition." Park felt excitement building. "Other species are still fighting them?" "Not just fighting," Sora smiled. "Some of them are winning. Look at this report about supply shortages in the Tau Ceti system. The local resistance has been disrupting Vorthak mining operations for over a year." In the fabrication bay deeper in the bunker, the first prototype of humanity's hybrid fighter was taking shape. Engineers had spent months studying captured Vorthak technology, learning how to integrate alien power systems with human designs. Kim Day, the young engineer who had become Dr. Hana's assistant, ran his hand along the ship's hull. The alien materials are stronger than anything we've ever built, but they're also lighter. This ship should be 3 times faster than our old fighters. And twice as maneuverable, added Chief Engineer Park Sung, an older man who had designed aircraft for 30 years before the war. The Vorthak build their ships for overwhelming firepower, but our design focuses on speed and agility. Captain Lee examined the hybrid fighter's cockpit. The controls were familiar, but enhanced with alien technology. When can we test it? Tomorrow. Night, Hana promised. The stealth systems should hide us from their sensors long enough for a short flight. Back in the communication center, Dr. Kim Sora made another discovery. I'm picking up response signals, she announced. The other resistance movements are trying to communicate with each other. Can we contact them? Park asked. Working on it now. Sora's fingers flew across her keyboard. The Vorthak use quantum communication across interstellar distances. If I can tap into their network. Hours passed as Sora worked to establish contact with the distant resistance movements. Finally, a weak signal came through, translated by the captured Vorthak communication system. Unknown transmission source. This is the Centauri Liberation Front. We have been monitoring Vorthak communications. Your resistance activities have been noted. Request coordination of operations. Park stared at the message in amazement. We're not alone. More signals began coming in as news of Earth's successful resistance spread through the hidden networks. Species that had been fighting hopeless battles for years suddenly realized they were part of a larger struggle. The Arcturians have been sabotaging Vorthak fuel refineries, Sora reported as she decoded more messages. The Sigma Draconians have been attacking supply convoys. The resistance on Wolf 359 has actually recaptured 2 of their moons. Captain Lee looked at the star charts displaying Vorthak territory. Red dots marked active resistance movements scattered across dozens of star systems. If we could coordinate all these groups, we wouldn't just be fighting for Earth, Park realized. We'd be fighting for the entire galaxy. The next evening, Captain Lee climbed into the cockpit of humanity's first hybrid fighter. The ship's engines hummed with alien technology, but the controls felt natural in his hands. Phoenix 1 to control, he radioed. All systems green, ready for test flight. Cleared for takeoff, Phoenix 1, came Park's voice through the comm system. Show us what human engineering can do. The hybrid fighter lifted silently from the hidden launch bay, its stealth systems hiding it from Vorthak sensors. Lee guided the ship through the ruins of Seoul, testing its capabilities. The ship was everything the engineers had promised. Fast, agile, and powerful, it combined the best of human creativity with alien technology. Control, this is Phoenix 1, Lee reported. The ship performs perfectly. We're ready to take the fight to them. Below in the bunker, Park watched the test flight data with satisfaction. How many more can we build? With the materials we've captured, Hana calculated, maybe 50 ships in the next month. Make it 100, Park ordered. It's time to break the siege. The counterattack began before dawn on a grey March morning. Captain Lee Jiho sat in the cockpit of his hybrid fighter, watching the first light creep across the horizon. Around him, 24 other pilots prepared for humanity's first organized strike against the Vorthak siege. Phoenix Squadron, this is Phoenix Leader, Lee spoke into his radio. Today we stop running and hiding, today we fight back. The hybrid fighters lifted silently from hidden launch bays scattered around the ruins of Seoul. Their stealth systems, reverse-engineered from captured Vorthak technology, made them invisible to alien sensors. The ships moved like ghosts through the morning sky. Above the city, 3 massive Vorthak orbital platforms had maintained their positions for 4 months, raining destruction on any sign of human resistance. Their shields had seemed impenetrable, their weapons unstoppable. But Dr. Kim Hana had discovered something important while studying captured alien technology. The shield generators have a rotation cycle, she had explained to the pilots during their briefing. For exactly 12 seconds every hour, there's a gap in the lower section. It's too small for their own ships to exploit, but our fighters are smaller and faster. Captain Lee checked his chronometer. Phoenix Squadron, gap opens in 10 seconds. Prepare for attack run. The Vorthak platform commander was reviewing routine reports when his sensor operator looked up in confusion. "Sir, I'm detecting small energy signatures approaching the platform." "Impossible," the commander replied. "Our sensors would have detected any human aircraft hours ago." The first explosion rocked the platform as Phoenix Squadron's missiles found their target. The humans had struck at the exact moment the shields rotated, hitting the platform's main power generator. "Shields failing," the Vorthak sensor operator shouted. "Multiple human fighters attacking from all directions." Captain Lee rolled his fighter between the platform's defensive turrets, his human reflexes and training allowing him to fly patterns no alien pilot had ever attempted. The hybrid engines responded instantly to his commands, the ship dancing. "Through the enemy fire. Target the communication array," he called to his squadron. "Cut them off from their fleet." More explosions lit up the morning sky as human fighters swarmed over the massive alien platform. Years of air combat training, combined with desperation and fury, made the human pilots deadly opponents. In the underground command center, Director Park Min-ho watched the battle through hijacked Vorthak communication feeds. Dr. Kim Sora sat beside him, monitoring alien military frequencies. "The platform is calling for help," she reported, "but their distress signal is being jammed by our own communication system." Dr. Kim Hana tracked the hybrid fighter's performance on her screens. "The ships are exceeding all design specifications. The combination of human tactics and alien technology is working perfectly." Above the city, the first Vorthak orbital platform began to fall. Its massive bulk tilted as control systems failed, then crashed into the Han River with a thunderous impact that shook the ground for kilometers around. "Phoenix leader to all units," Lee's voice crackled over the radio. "First target down, moving to Platform 2. The second attack was even more successful. The Vorthak defenders, trained to fight conventional battles against slower, less maneuverable opponents, couldn't adapt to the human fighting style. The hybrid fighters struck from impossible angles, using the city's ruined buildings as cover. Captain Kim Min led the second wave of fighters, her squadron targeting the platform's weapon systems. "Dance between their guns," she called to her. "Pilots. They can't hit what they can't predict." The Vorthak platform commander watched in disbelief as his massive weapons failed to track the small human fighters. "How are they moving like that?" he demanded. "No species fights this way." His tactical officer studied the battle data. "Sir, they're using combat maneuvers we've never encountered. Their attack patterns have no logic, no structure. It's like they're making decisions randomly." "It's not random," the commander realized grimly. "It's creativity, pure, unpredictable creativity." The second platform fell within an hour, its wreckage joining the first in the river below. The third platform tried to retreat, rising higher into the atmosphere, but Phoenix Squadron followed it up. "They're running," Lee observed with satisfaction. 4 months of bombing our cities, and now they're running from us." In orbit around Earth, the main Vorthak fleet received emergency communications from the platforms. Fleet Commander Vorthak stared at the tactical displays in confusion. "The humans have developed new aircraft," his intelligence officer reported. "They appear to be using our own technology against us." "How is that possible?" "Unknown, sir. But their attack patterns are unlike anything in our combat database. They fight with no regard for conventional tactics." Commander Vorthak studied the battle reports. In his 300 years of military service, he had conquered dozens of worlds. Every species had fought predictably, using standard military doctrine. But these human, they don't fight like a military, he realized. They fight like individuals. Each pilot makes his own decisions. On the surface, the counterattack continued. Resistance cells that had been hiding for months emerged from their underground shelters, attacking Vorthak ground forces with captured weapons and improvised explosives. Dr. Kim Sora intercepted more alien communications. "The Vorthak are requesting reinforcements from their other battlefronts," she reported, "but their forces are already committed elsewhere. And now they know we can fight back," Park added. "The siege is broken." Captain Lee landed his fighter at a makeshift airfield outside the city. His ship was damaged but intact. Like most of the squadron, they had lost only 3 fighters while destroying 3 massive orbital platforms. "Sir," he reported to Park over the radio, Sol is free. What are our orders? Park looked at the star charts showing Vorthak positions throughout the solar system. Captain, it's time we took this fight to them. All of them. The counterattack had begun, but it was only the first step. Now humanity would carry the war to the stars. 1 year after the first Vorthak ships had appeared over Earth, Captain Li Jiho stood on the bridge of humanity's first interstellar warship. The TLS Freedom was a massive vessel, built from captured alien technology and human engineering, bristling with hybrid weapons that no Vorthak commander had ever seen. Through the bridge windows, Li could see dozens of other ships flying in formation. Not just human vessels, but ships from 6 different alien species that had joined Earth's rebellion against the Vorthak Empire. The Centaurians had contributed their powerful shield technology, while the Arcturians had shared their advanced sensors. Jump coordinates confirmed, reported Navigation Officer Kim Day from his station. The Vega system is 3 light-years away. Admiral Park Minho, former director of the Seoul Space Center, studied the tactical display showing their target. The Vega system contained a major Vorthak supply depot that fed their military operations across 12 star systems. Destroying it would cripple their ability to wage war in this region of the galaxy. Dr. Kim Hana, status report on the new weapons, Park ordered. Dr. Hana looked up from her engineering console. The quantum torpedoes are ready, Admiral. Each one contains enough destructive power to crack a moon in half. And our allies? Doctor. Kim Sora, now serving as communications director for the Liberation Fleet, monitored signals from the other ships. All vessels report ready for combat. The Centaurian battlecruiser sends their regards and says they're eager to pay back the Vorthak for 50 years of occupation. Captain Lee smiled grimly. Then let's give them that chance. The fleet jumped to hyperspace, their combined technologies allowing them to travel faster than any single species could manage alone. When they emerged in the Vega system, they found exactly what their intelligence had predicted: a massive Vorthak fortress station surrounded by supply ships and patrol vessels. But they also found something unexpected. 3 alien ships of unknown design were already attacking the station, firing weapons that created brilliant purple explosions against the Vorthak shields. New contacts, Sora reported. They're transmitting on resistance frequencies. It's the Vegan Liberation Movement. The local aliens had been fighting a guerrilla war against their Vorthak occupiers for 2 years. They had learned about Earth's successful rebellion through the hidden communication networks that now connected resistance movements across the galaxy. This is Admiral Park of the Terran Liberation Fleet, Park broadcast on all frequencies. Vegan forces, we're here to support your liberation. Coordinate your attacks with ours. The response came immediately. Admiral Park, this is Commander Zakra of the Free Vega Coalition. We have waited long for this day. Our people stand ready to follow Earth's example. The combined assault began with devastating effectiveness. Human fighters, using tactics developed during the siege of Earth, struck at the station's defensive weapons while the larger ships targeted its power systems. The Centaurian vessels focused their superior shields to protect the smaller craft, while Arcturian sensors provided precise targeting data. Captain Lee led Phoenix Squadron in their attack run, his hybrid fighter dancing between the station's massive gun turrets. Remember Seoul, he told his pilots. Remember every city they bombed, every life they took. The Vorthak station commander watched his defenses crumble under the coordinated assault. How many species are fighting us? He demanded of his tactical officer. At least 7 different ship designs, sir. They're working together like they've been allies for decades. That's impossible. Our intelligence report said these species have never even met each other. But the evidence was clear on his tactical screens. Species from across the galaxy were fighting as one unified force, their different technologies combining into something more powerful than the sum of its parts. The station's shields, finally, collapsed under the sustained bombardment. Human quantum torpedoes punched through its armor, while Vegan fighters swarmed over its surface, targeting critical systems with surgical precision. Station is breaking apart, reported Kim Day. Massive secondary explosions throughout the structure. Admiral Park watched the destruction with satisfaction, but his mind was already focused on the next target. Dr. Sora, send a message to all. Resistance movements in this sector. Tell them Vega is free and we're moving to the next system. Already done, sir. I'm receiving responses from resistance cells in 8 different star systems. They're coordinating their attacks with our advance. The Vorthak supply station exploded in a brilliant flash that could be seen from the system's outer planets. It died the Empire's ability to maintain control over this entire region of space. As the Liberation Fleet prepared to jump to their next target, more ships appeared from hyperspace. Not Vorthak vessels, but rebels from a dozen different worlds, who had heard about the victory and come to join the fight. "Admiral," Sora reported with excitement, "I'm receiving a transmission from the Tau Ceti resistance. They've successfully captured a Vorthak fleet base and want to coordinate with our next operation." Lee looked out at the growing fleet of Liberation ships. What had started as Earth's desperate fight for survival had become something much larger. "We're not just winning battles anymore," he observed. "We're winning the war." Park nodded, studying the star charts that showed Vorthak territory shrinking as more worlds joined the rebellion. "Captain, when this started, they told us we had 72 hours to surrender." "What do we tell them now?" Lee asked. Park smiled. "We tell them their time is up. The Liberation Fleet jumped to hyperspace, carrying freedom to the stars themselves.